have to take action. You can have the best ideas, the best projects in your mind, but if you don't work towards it, there's no reason why.
Welcome, everyone, to the Closing Table Podcast, real accounts from real estate professionals brought to you by Windowsill. I'm your host, Pat Schooler, and today I'm sitting down with real estate investor and home flipper Claudia Chueca-Ramos. Claudia is with Savannah Key Deals out in Savannah, Georgia, and today we talk about her move to the United States and how she got started in real estate investing and how she's had many successful home flips since. Claudia shares with us the importance of mentorship and how that really helped her grow her business. And she hits on some of the key mistakes and challenges in home flipping. So without further ado, let's chat with Claudia. Claudia, thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to kick it off and get started with your background and then how that led you into house flipping and real estate investment.
Hi, Kat. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. Thanks for inviting me, and I hope I can add some value to the community. Well, I'm originally from Peru. That, for the people who don't know, that's in South America. When I lived in Peru, I worked in a bank. I was attending college. I had a pretty decent life. Then I had to come to the States because I married my longtime boyfriend. I came to the States back in 2010, 14 years ago. Then, well, things didn't work out too well, so we had to split up a few years later. And I had my daughter at that time. She was probably 2 or 3 years old, so I kind of had to start all over. For me, coming from, well, another country, and like I said, I was attending college. I was working in a bank, so it was a little bit rough, and I had to start all over. I started working at Burger King, my first job here in the U.S. It was a little bit challenging, but I believe that everything happened for a reason. I met an important person who kind of motivated me to join the army. That's something that I had in the back of my mind, but I wasn't sure. So she pushed me, and I did that. I joined the army. I served in the army for 4 years, from 2013 to 2017. It was challenging too. I had to be away. I got sent away a couple times to Europe, so I had to leave my daughter. But I think I don't regret it at all. It was a very good experience. Then I got out in 2017, so I can be dedicated to my daughter completely. I can be with her. I won't have to, travel or any of the military things. So I got out. I found a job in this company, the one I currently work for. I started in the warehouse, so once again, I kind of had to start from the bottom. Let's just put it that way, and work my way up. Then, well, I went to college. I was able to transfer some of the college that I did in Peru. They took half of the credits. I only had to do 2 years. Then I got my degree in business. Then I applied for another job within the same company. I got my job as a material analyst, and now I'm a financial analyst. And I do my real estate on the side, and I absolutely love numbers, money, wealth, improving. So, yep, here I am.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And it really shows your resilience and hard working over and over again. I really, commend you for that and for your service to our country. And I think it's just wonderful to see all that hard work pay off.
Thank you so much, Kat. Yeah, it was definitely difficult. When I go back and I try to think about everything, sometimes it feels a little surreal. I was just kind of reacting and trying to overcome challenges that were thrown at me. So now that I just reflect a little bit, it's like, wow, I don't know how I did all that.
So how did this lead into house flipping and real estate investing?
Well, when I was living in Virginia. Then I got stationed in Fort Stewart, Hinesville, Georgia. I'm currently in Savannah. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but I got stationed in Fort Stewart, and I was looking for a place. That was my first solo place. I was already on my own with my daughter. So I was just trying to find rent a place. And I remember I came across this person, and the guy was showing me the houses, and he told me, why don't you buy a house? And I never thought about that. So I was like, okay. And I started doing my research. One thing about me is like, when an idea comes to my mind, to my head, and it sounds like, oh wow, and if I really like it, I get obsessed and I start like reading, listening to podcasts. Like, I got really into it, and I just did a lot of research. I got with a realtor, and I remember I was just looking for houses. I would tell her, hey, can you take me to this house? Can you take me to this house? And she would be like, Claudia, that's usually my job. You tell me what you want, and I show you, based on what you told me, something that I believe is fit for you. I mean, in a jokingly way. The thing is, we saw so many houses, and the house that I ended up buying was my one that I found. So at the end, we became close, and she was like, "Haven't you thought like into get into real estate? You're good at it." And at that point, like I said, I was in the army. I just was like, I don't know, 6 months in the army. So I was like, no, I don't like sales. I don't know. That's not my
Mhm.
thing. So that was my first encounter. That was back in 2014. And one thing I want to mention too, I don't know, some people that are veterans or active duty might be listening to this or watching this, that I use my VA loan. I don't know if you're familiar. Have you heard of VA loans?
Yeah, yeah. And I know, I think I know where you're gonna go. A lot of people don't take advantage of them.
That's correct. So yes, it is great. It's like a loan, where you don't actually need a down payment. Of course, there's some expenses involved, but it's nowhere near to what you will have to pay with a regular loan. So I took advantage of that, and I used my VA loan. I didn't know either. I didn't know about the benefits about the military. So it was another great thing that happened to me when I found out, yeah, the VA loan. I was like, really? That's when I started doing more research. So yeah, I would encourage anybody who's like a prior service, a veteran, or active duty to take advantage of this great benefit for military members.
And so you bought your first house, and so you kind of caught the itch. So tell us now about your flipping journey, and now you have, Savannah Key Deals, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's the name of my business, my company, Savannah Key Deals. So that was back in 2014. And ever since, I kind of enjoy like looking for houses, I don't know, researching them online. So I remember I started thinking about investing, how I can make my money grow. And I remember I started with just my regular saving account. I wasn't the typical person that likes to save money. I was like the opposite, actually. I was like, oh, I
Mm.
have more money, let me spend it all. But when I bought my house, I was like, no, I have to change. So I just like, okay, now I'm gonna start saving money. Let me try to find ways to grow my money. So I was just doing research. I remember I started with savings accounts. Then I did some index funds, crypto. So a little bit like of that, like just ways to grow my money. And I always have real estate in the back of my mind, but it was kind of like a little scary because there's a lot of money involved. So I was just doing research and listening to podcasts and reading books, and I will always be looking like for houses, but I was just scared, to be honest. And I was probably like that for a couple years until I started following a lot of people on Facebook and Instagram. And well, my first deal, I partnered up with this lady that she was into real estate. So she told me, hey, we can do a partnership, and maybe we can buy a house together, and then we can rent it out. We gotta get our LLC, everything. I mean, it sounded legit. So we did it. She had a little bit of experience. I didn't. So we bought this house. At the end, kind of fast forward a little bit, it wasn't that great of a deal. As a matter of fact, to be honest, like I remember we ended up losing like $4,000 at the end.
Mm.
But I always believe and I always knew, I mean, that real estate I just understood how it works. I knew that it was a bad deal. It's not like, oh, real estate, a lot of people get discouraged and, oh, no, real estate sucks. It's a lie. People say this. And now it's like, okay, you know what? This is a learning experience. So I'm just going to grab this and I'm just going to keep moving forward. And throw it in the back and it's like, okay, that's all it was. So that was my actual, like my first experience. After that, I was following this guy too that is a local investor, and he was offering a mentorship. So I was just like following and watching for a year because it was kind of like a big investment. So I wasn't sure. But then I just, you know what? I have to do it. I have to do it. So I ended up getting the in the mentorship, and it was like it's a great mentorship because it was local, somebody that was gonna walk you through it, be there with you, go and see the house with you. So I thought that was a great idea. So I did it. I ended up doing the mentorship, and that was my first official project on my own with his advice. I mean, he's looking over everything I was doing, but that was a good deal. And I was like, I had the confidence I needed, and it's like nothing's gonna stop me now. So that was the actual beginning of the real estate success.
What were some of the things that you took away from this mentorship that you've been able to like apply to grow your own flipping business?
Well, there's one thing with mentorship in this case, like I said, because he was local. The network. I had access to all the network that the mentor had. The contractors. Everybody always like struggling. Oh my gosh, let me find a good contractor. He'll be like, okay, this guy, this guy. The lender still like, I don't know how to get the money, so don't worry about it. We're gonna go over it. So now that we went, well, he helped me qualifying and do all the paperwork. Then when we got the house, well, he went with me, and we looked at the house, and he told me this is a great property, buy it. So it was like I wasn't on my own. It was like great to have somebody who's done it multiple times, like making me feel like, okay, you're good. You're like what you're doing is, I mean, you're making the right decisions. Do it like this, like guiding me. Then also with the budget or like estimating rehab costs. That is like I was like, I don't have a clue how to estimate rehab costs. So he will like, no, this costs this, total is gonna cost you this much, and this is how you run your numbers. So I was able to put in practice everything that I already learned from theory, from reading and listening to podcasts. So it was just great. I wish I would have done it sooner, to be honest with you, because I mean, it made it so much easier. It avoids making mistakes. And in real estate, there's a lot of money. So mistakes can cost you, like, can make or break your deal. So yeah, those are the lessons I learned from the mentorship.
What are some of these mistakes that beginners can make?
Sometimes beginners, well, first, sometimes, they're looking for a property, they're excited, they don't know what they're doing. I will strongly advise them to like try to get information, as much knowledge as they can. Then something very important, they have to learn how to run the numbers. A lot of times, we push, oh, we just want a deal, we just want to get a deal. And we kind of push the numbers to make them work. That's a big mistake. If your numbers tell you that it won't work, do not force it. Don't try to push it so you can have a deal under your belt. Big mistake. Then another mistake, maybe taking on like two big projects, like let's say houses with like that need a whole lot of renovation, that I don't know, structural issues that are more complex, or foundation issues, things that are very more complex. And a lot of times when we budget for those is one thing, and then when you're there you start uncovering more issues. So I will strongly advise to just start with maybe light or medium complex, like medium rehabs. No, like don't get into big projects unless maybe they have their contractors, so they have some construction background. That might be the exception, but other than that, no. Then another very important thing is like, and everybody in real estate, like investing, nothing knows this. It's the saying that it's like you make your money when you buy the house. So it is super important to try to get the property at the best price possible. Because if you get a low price, you kind of have more wiggle room. If there's any mistakes or any issues that you uncover during the project, you still have wiggle room. So that is another great great way to cover yourself, try to get a property at the lowest price possible.
I love that. I think that's so important. And so, when we're talking about the budget and things like that, how much maybe like percentage wise do you usually make sure you have for those kind of unexpected things? Because I would imagine even sometimes on these flips where you're thinking like, oh, it's mostly cosmetic, anything can happen, right? Something can get delayed and now you're having to pivot. So how much money do you try to make sure you have set aside to cover these kinds of factors?
I usually try to be between a 5 and 10%. And this depends if it's like say in an older house that is more likely that you can find some issues. I try to budget a little bit more. But if for like newer construction, that I mean the likelihood is not that high, I try to stay within like 5%.
How do you think people can spot a good investment?
So a good investment, the first thing, and this is also super important, is the location of the property. Um, they say pick the ugliest house in the best neighborhood because it's so important for people, for families. They always look for a good location, for schools and all of that. So that's one of the things. Try to find horrible properties in good neighborhoods. Then, like I mentioned before, try to find properties that medium or light rehab, not too complex. That's another thing too. Well, we're going back to the same principles a little bit. I mean, if you find a property that needs some work and it's a good price, a decent price, definitely go for it. But once again, reiterating, this is kind of one of the most important, because even if you find a house that doesn't need a lot of work and it's in a great location, but if it's not at the right price, I mean, the deal still won't work. So, kind of like I said, once again, like the price is what allows you a little bit to play a little bit more.
And then how do you suggest people fund their deals? Like I know not a lot of us have a lot of unless you have different circumstances than me, have a lot of liquid cash sitting around, and so often flips and things like this, like if it was a major flip, right, you kind of need to have a cash deal. How did you come across funding your flips? How do you recommend other people fund their flips?
Wait, there are money is out there. That's one of the things that and a lot of people always get scared. No, how I'm gonna get the money? But trust me, like there's money. There's so many ways to find your deals. The ones I mainly used to. I use hard money lenders and I use private money. Hard money lenders are like these loan companies that are specialized on lending funds to investors. They're usually like short term, which is 1 year. So they lend you the money. They usually lend you 80 or 90% of the project, the full amount you're going to need for the project. And you have to come out with the 10 or 20%. Um, then, well, they charge you interest. It's interest only. So they will only charge you interest. You will have to pay every month, just interest. You don't have to pay like on the whole amount. And
Mm.
the thing is, like I say, it's interest only. And once you use the money, you do the flip, and as soon whenever you sell the house, you pay the lender and you start all over. But that's how it usually works. Like I said, there's so many lenders out there, like so many people that is like trying to give you money. So I don't think that is one of the hardest things. And then private money lending, which is like sometimes there are people who have excellent of money, savings, and it's just sitting in the bank. So they're just ready they would like to learn more, make more returns. So that's when I come in there and like, hey, I'm an investor. This is the project I have. This will be the return is how we be getting. So I kind of like brief them on the project so they can know like well, safe in a way, because there's no safe in like 100% safe, but it's like a calculated risk. That's what I always say, to calculated risk. And I offer them a higher return. Let's say in the bank, they will make 2 or 3% for their money. And I offer them, well, we negotiated too. It can be 10, 11, 12, 13% interest. So that's another way that I use to fund my deals.
And so in terms of like finding these private money lenders, have you found people through your mentorship, through your kind of community that you ended up in?
Yes, yes, it's part of community. Well, I just started doing that.
Mhm.
I plan on growing a little bit more, and maybe expand it to choose people that are outside the community, people that, like I said, just have money and it's like, okay, I have this money and I would like to get more return. But right now, yes, it's people within the community that have seen me doing my job, my have seen my work, the quality of my flips, the kind of person I am. That of course there's all kinds of paperwork. It's not like they just give me their money. There's we do like teats and different things so they can um have the like guarantee that they're gonna have their money back. So, but yeah, it's people like I said, mainly right now who know me and know what I do.
Ooh, that's so cool because that kind of brings it back to why it's so important to let people know what you're doing and why even, you know, as an investor, and a flipper, you need to have your presence, right? You need to be telling people what you're doing, whether it's online, whether it's in person, just and to show kind of the results that you get because it's only going to bring more people to you.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. And that was one of the challenges. Like when I started doing, trying to like getting more familiar with the real estate world. I remember there were meetups, and I was like, I don't know anybody, but you have to put yourself out there. If no, how are you going to grow? Like they say, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I force myself to do it all the time. And it might not feel all the way right, but the more we do it, the less difficult it gets. And you get more exposure, you can get like more opportunities. You don't know who you're gonna end up talking to. So, like I said, it's not until this day it's not easy, but I force myself to do it.
Yeah, and I think, it's good to say too because I think maybe some people might think like, "Oh, well, I'm not trying to have my own HGTV show. Like I'm not trying to have, the new, flipping 101 or whatever." But it's not all about getting on HGTV. It's not getting at that level. It's just about your next deal and about proving to your potential private investors or any investors to your community that you're bringing value.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's like the way I look at it, it's like you or I am like really am like my I'm committed to bring value to the community, improving the neighborhoods. Then when I use the contractors, like you're, giving them like employment, then people, when some people that are in certain distress situations, they come to me and like, hey Claudia, I need to sell this house. I know um, this is an inherited house and it's in bad condition. We don't really want to deal with it. So okay, don't worry about it. I mean, I can offer you this, we'll take care of this. So it's like about helping everybody, and it's like what you give is what you get. So it's kind of the way I see things.
Claudia, do you have any like favorite flips you've done so far?
Well, I have a couple, but it's just I really like the design part. So, but this one, this is I call it the Bloomingdale House. That's like a little, it's like a little town close by. It's not. It's like probably 20 minutes from Savannah, and a lot of people like it's like, oh no, that's too far away, and it's not the countryside, but it is 20 minutes. Like I said, 20 minutes away. It's far, and it's not too far, but it's not you're not right there too. So I like
Right,
it
you're not going to walk to downtown.
exactly, but and you can have more land. So I remember it was a 3-1, and we turned it into a 4-2. It was a little bit of a challenge. We had to pull permits. Sometimes whenever they're like light renovations, we it's just cosmetic painting and all the stuff. But this one, it was a learning experience. I had to go through to the process like pulling permits and all the stuff. Well, like I said, it was a learning experience. Then another thing, we got it at a good price. A lot of investors weren't really interested because it was a little further out. But I'm familiar with that with that town, with that place. I was like, I think this is great. Whenever I did my numbers, I remember the ARV, which is the after value repair that I estimated. Um, I'm trying to be conservative, but at the end, when we were done with the deal, the ARV was so much higher, like 20, 30,000 more dollars. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a winner. I learned a lot. Then I started working with one of the contractors, well, that I still work with, that is like great. I have a 9 to 5, so they do very good job. So I don't have to worry that much. Of course, I always go check on the project and all of that, but I mean, it just that's another important thing, like getting good contractors. And the last one is like I put a lot of thought into the design, because like I said, I want to deliver a good product. I want the families to feel like the homey feeling whenever they walk in the house, and some finishes and the light fixtures and things like that. So I really love how it turned out. Like I say, it was just learning experience. It turned out amazing. I remember I showed it to some of my friends. It's like, I want to live there. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, my brother that is in Peru, I sent him the pictures and all of that. He's like, oh my gosh, Claudia, I wish I could live there. And I was like, so it turned out really nice. And of course, it was very good profit too. So it was like a great experience all around.
Oh, that's so amazing. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I feel like the design would be my favorite part too. That's whenever I watch HGTV and, when it comes to like selecting the finishes, that's when I'm the most motivated as the viewer, that's when I have my opinions out too.
Yeah, because I mean, that gives it like the finishing touches, how the house is gonna look, it's gonna feel whenever you walk in there. So yeah, I love that part too.
What would you say are some of your habits or routines that you have that make you a successful real estate investor?
Well, I don't know about routines, but it's something that I've been told a few times, that I'm a very determined person. Like, whenever something, like I said, gets in my mind and I like it, because that's another one thing that I do believe. You have to like what you do, because if you don't, even if you just try to do the work and the research and the lessons and take classes and whatever, but if you don't enjoy it, you won't be the same. So like with real estate, the fact that I really like it, I really enjoy it, and I'm very determined, like it's what's helping me make things happen. Like, that's all. Well, I'm not gonna say that's all I do, but when I fantasize about what's my next project. I don't think that happens to a lot of people, but it's like, what's my next project? And if I buy this house, how's it gonna turn out? So I'm constantly thinking, and that's another thing too. Like, a lot of people are talking about manifestation, and I was not aware or like consciously that I always manifest, like I said, because it's just part of my personality. When I really like something, I just think about it, I imagine it. So I think that's another key part of the success too. Like, you wanted it so bad, so much. You think about it, you read about it, and of course, you do things to make it happen, because it's not just about, oh, yes, I'm going to have it right here in my mind and I can see myself. Okay, perfect. That is the first step. But now, what are you going to do to make it a reality, to make it happen? So just like, I think being determined, it's something good that I have that has helped me a lot in my real estate career.
Yeah, you have the perfect combination of kind of dreaming, right? The daydreaming about it, the manifesting, and then the actually putting it into action part, which is something you probably always had, probably something that being in the armed services kind of like boosted for you, I'm sure. But you have kind of both sides that you need for this type of pursuit.
Yeah, and like you say, you hit right on the nail. Like, I always been like this. I've always been a very motivated person, like goal driven my entire life. But I'm at the point right now where I feel very happy, because I was just chasing goals. What's the next one? Just chasing goals. But now I feel like, of course, like I said, I have my goals, like money related, but it makes me feel good. It's not, I'm just not just doing it. So just to do it, just to accomplish more and get more. I do it because I really enjoy it. And I think that makes a difference. And one more thing I want to add is like, for a long time, I felt like I'm not creative or I'm not good enough. I don't have these brilliant ideas. But one thing that I would like to share with you and with everybody who's watching this, it's like it's not about having a million ideas or having like, oh yes, you look, I can come up with this and this is this. It's like you just need one good idea. You just need one good idea and you just really need to like it and enjoy it, and that's it.
I love that. That's beautiful. I'm also curious because I'm sure other people are as well. Like, how do you do it all? You have a full-time job, you are a parent, and you're running a successful real estate flipping business. How do you manage all of that?
Well, I can tell you it gets tough a lot of times. But just having a good support system like at work. Well, my job, of course, I have to do my job, but having first on the real estate, having reliable contractors that you know they're going to do a good job, that you won't have to, you don't need to be on top of them 24/7, making sure you're doing this or like that took a great relief from me, like a big weight off me. And I have had like discussions, so I've talked to other people that they tell me, Claudia, but you're leaving money on the table because, of course, these people are going to charge you more. And that is true. But at this stage in my life that I'm right now with my 24, with my 9 to 5 job, this just works for me. And that's another thing too. You have to find things that work for you. It's not like do this and this is the only way to do it. Now, find something that works for you. In my case, like I said, having good, reliable contractor is basic for this stage of my life right now. Then, well, with my daughter, I try to like, well, she's running around too because she has her after school activities. So we just both running around and I try, let's say she has volleyball a couple times a week from 6 to 8, I believe. And I use that time to just start, reviewing, crunching my numbers, watching pictures, trying to send offers and trying to do all the other things that I cannot do during like my regular, during the the first part of the day. So it's just kind of juggling things a little bit in the weekend sometimes too. Let's go to the mall, do something, and then hey, but we're gonna stop real quick to watch a house. So try to make it a little just squeezing in there here and there. So my daughter, because sometimes and it's something that's something cool too. She is just I don't teach her like, hey, learn this. This is how you do it. But we were talking about something the other day, and I think I said, "Oh, the house is contingent," and she's like, "What? That fast?" And I was like, "What is contingent?" And she told me that it's under contract. She's 13. And what does under contract mean? And she's like, that somebody put an offer. So like these things, like I really like, oh wow, like that she's learning too. So I mean, like I said, I try to balance it. I'm not gonna lie, it gets hard sometimes. But it's just a one day at a time and try to do my best.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all you can do, and I think your sentiment that you have to find what works for you is is so true, and, I think it's really valuable to share what does work for you because that maybe sparks something for somebody else, you know?
Absolutely. I would love that. I would love that. Like I think it's very valuable when you see other people like do some like things that you wish you could do or you would like to do, and you hear their experience how they do it, because sometimes me too, I was like, I wonder how they do it. And we when you hear from themselves, like it's like, okay, they can spark some ideas or maybe motivation or just like advice, like, okay, there's no, sometimes you just hear from everybody and you find your own way.
Claudia, are there any myths about house flipping that you'd like to debunk?
The biggest myth, because a lot of people tell me like, Claudia, you're a millionaire. You like they think that I have like cash like stash like in my house, to buy all those houses. I was like, I have assets. That's what I have. I don't have like a lot of cash just everywhere in my house. I think that's one of the myths, and goes hand to hand when people think that you need a lot of money to invest in real estate, because the houses, I don't know, 150,000 to $100,000. It's like, oh my gosh, you really have to have all that money. No, you don't. Like I mentioned with hard money lenders, that you only need to have 10-20%. Of course, you have to have some cash, but it's not, you don't have to have these millions just in your wallet, or like, or somewhere in your house. I think in there's so many ways to finance your deals. So yeah, that, like I said, that like people think that we just like people walking around with money and cash, like lots of cash, and you need a lot to start in real estate, and that's not true.
Are there any challenges in the current real estate market that you're facing as an investor and a flipper? And if so, how are you overcoming them?
Right now, there's been a switch in the market. I see like for properties, you will list them, and like in 2 or 3 days, it will be under contract. The market has started to slow down um, a little bit. I mean, of that is because of the interest rates um, have went up so high, so that scare a lot of people. Then, the elections coming up too, people are a little bit more cautious, and they don't want to do big things or like spend a lot of money. They do try to just stay, stable and calm. No, don't do nothing big. So it can be more challenging too to find deals. So there's the MLS. Probably everybody is knows about the MLS. When they post all the houses for everybody to see. So I still do. I use the MLS as a source to find deals, but now I kind of try to do my own marketing so I can reach out sellers directly. Because, like I said, it's not as easy to find everybody. The few deals that are in MLS, sometimes you have all the investors finding about it, bid wars. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm doing, is doing my own marketing to try to find sellers directly.
Okay, cool. And so what does that look like for you? Is that like social media videos? Are you sending out mailers? Like, what is your marketing?
Well, I have my social media, but it's more, well, I want to become like a referent. So if people who want to learn, that's my first goal. That was my first goal, what that I wanted to get when started to do like work on my social media, was just to like try to motivate people. But of course, now I want to become like a reference. So if anybody watches my videos or the information or follows me, they be like, oh, I know this girl. They come across somebody trying to sell a house or something. Oh, I seen this girl, she buys houses. Maybe she can help you or something like that. That's one thing. Then I do direct mail, which is like you get some data, you buy some data, and you just send mail to potential sellers, and then they will reach out to you, and we do the process. Gotta go see the house. I gotta kind of tell them a little bit of what I offer, and then we try to negotiate and hopefully come to like and close the deal. Then I also do cold calling. I don't know if you heard that, when same thing, same deal. Like we get some data and we just start calling potential sellers and just tell them a little bit what we offer. And I mean, I have had good response with those two. So yeah, I mean, I just started not too long ago, but I have had a few deals from doing marketing. So I'm just going to continue doing it.
Claudia, uh, did you have any goals that you had set for 2024? And if so, how are they going so far? And are you looking ahead to your next year's goals?
Kind of funny, because when I was thinking a little bit about my goals, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do 10 houses in 2025. I thought it was gonna be, high enough, but I was like deep inside kind of doubting myself, but just put in that number. Okay, let's just use the 10. Right now it's October, and I'm at number 8, so I think I'm on track. But that was definitely a goal that I set for myself in the beginning of the year, and I'm happy that I'm making it happen. Like I said, especially with all the challenges, having a 9 to 5 and being a parent and all of that. But once again, I think that determination and that I really want it. I'm hustling. I'm putting myself out there to try to make it happen. That's well, one of my goals, and the other goal was like to get out of my comfort zone and start doing the social media, which that's what I'm doing right now because it's not easy. It takes time. Like I say, when people say, "Oh my gosh, I like your videos," yeah, you have no idea how much there's behind those videos because it's a lot of work. But yeah, I just want to help and motivate people, show them that it's possible if they really want to do it.
Oh, that's so cool. I think you are absolutely killing it. I can't imagine doing everything you're doing and having done, 8 houses this year. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I totally second what you say about social media. I think it looks so easy when we consume it. But I had somebody say to me fairly recently, and this has really stuck with me, like, it takes a lot of courage to film the video. It takes a lot of courage to then edit the video, to watch back what you did. And then it takes even more courage to post it. For some reason, that was freeing to me. I was like, yes, it does take a lot of courage to do all of these things. And we're all doing it. And we can. And we can just do it on our own timeline. It is a little different if it's for your business, if it's because marketing is the lifeblood of your business. So I understand why that maybe accelerates your timeline on getting certain social media things done. But, I just wanted to say that to, give you your flowers for, taking on this challenge and just to also commend other people who are killing it at the social media game, who have stepped outside their comfort zone and who are putting themselves out there to better themselves in their business.
Yes, I completely I agree, and I love it. I remember the first time that I posted the video, I didn't even want to watch it. I was like, I don't want to watch myself. Like, oh my gosh, no, it's kind of weird. But once again, and they like, there's the saying that is everything you want, it's on the other side of fear. So, like I said, facing those fears that we have, just we gotta do it. Okay, it doesn't feel. I feel weird, but we have to do it. And the things that we fear the most could be like they can bring us so much joy at the end, and like that feel of like, oh my gosh, I did it. I was so scared. I didn't think I could do it. And then that like accomplishment, and not just like I said for the money of, but it's just like internal, like and that your inner self, like you feel like you really like overcame and like went across the. So that feeling is just amazing.
Claudia, do you have anything you're looking forward to for the rest of the year? It doesn't have to be real estate related.
Holidays. I'm taking a trip to Peru. I'm going back in I think next month because my cousin is getting married, so it's gonna be like a nice family retreat too. So well, I'm just looking forward to enjoy time with my family. In holiday
Oh,
season,
I love
everybody
that.
loves holiday season. So yeah, it's a busy season. The only thing I'm a little scared of is like, oh my gosh, I'm already seeing it like at work. Everybody's like start bringing food. I was like, oh my gosh, food everywhere, everywhere. But yeah, I love holidays.
Do you have a favorite holiday meal?
Holiday meal
Yeah.
in Peru we do pretty much the same. I try to like for holidays since I was there until I was 24. I pretty much like was born and raised there. I still keep like the same things that we do there, which is I mean turkey, but I don't know. That's it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar what you guys do here in America and what we do back home. Just the turkey. We don't do pies. We do um. Can I think? I don't remember like any sweets for Christmas. Cannot think of anything right now. But well, the same big meals. In Peru, we eat great. We are very known for having like great food. So yeah, every time I go, it's like it's a feast.
Well, I'm so excited for you and for your trip and for you to continue hitting your goals. Claudia, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. Would you like to tell people how they can find you, how they can work with you?
Well, they can find me and Instagram. My name is The Real Estate Latina. That's how you guys can find me. Follow me. You can reach out to me. Oh, also my webpage, www.savannahkeydeals.com. I post everything we do there. I mean, the services we offer and and everything. You guys can reach me there. And I really enjoyed this interview, this conversation. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I just want to tell everyone, like I say, if you really want to accomplish and want to do something, you have to enjoy what you do. You have to wish it like deep in your heart, and you have to take action. You can have the best ideas, the best projects in your mind, but if you don't work towards it, there's no reason why. So please take action. Learn as much as you can. Listen to podcasts, books. Try to get conversations with people who's already doing what you want to do. Then learn how to run your numbers, like I said, and just jump in the pool. Not everybody has everything figured out. There's even the more experienced people. There's things that they learn as they go. So you don't have to know it all. We don't have to know it all. Of course, the basic calculated risk, but you will learn a lot as you go. So just go for it. If you really want it, go for it.
I love it. Thank you, Claudia. We will make sure all your links are in the show notes so people can find you with just a click. And thank you again so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this time. Thank you, Kat.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Closing Table podcast, brought to you by Windowsill. I'm your host, Kat Schooler. Please be sure you're following our podcast on Apple or Spotify, and if you're part of our YouTube audience, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're enjoying our podcast, please feel free to leave us a comment or review. It helps us find more amazing listeners like you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.